also think that we need to look at what would we do with that large of a building. Obviously, we need to move the Public Works area because of the new West Haymarket project that's coming in. However, I think that we really need to look at some options there. Do we want to rent some of that out? Do we want to try to sell other pieces of property that we have to make up for it? And I'll yield the rest of my time for Mayor Butler.
Well, let me say, I'm glad you brought up the Development Services Center, because this gets into what I think I've done for the city big time. And that's create a positive, strong, pro-business atmosphere in this city that is not hype and is not mirrors and images. It's the real thing. It's authentic. We have taken four different departments, and we've brought them together in one physical place, and we have physically created a business development center. And we get together all of the people in all of the different departments now. The first time a developer comes in, we put them down in the same room, and we talk about all of the problems. And for the first time in a long, long time, I'm hearing time and again, this process is much improved, this process is better than Omaha, this process is one of the best things going in this city. And it all relates to what we need to do for growth and for jobs and for development. And one project after another is going up in this city, and businesses are expanding right and left. In all of the polls, the national polls, not our local administration polls, but in all of the national polls, Lincoln is now listed as one of the top places to do business, one of the top places for entrepreneurs, one of the top places for finding jobs. It's consistent, it's real, and it's because we're doing things in the administration and the community's doing things, and we're all working together.
The public service area that has been put in cost roughly $2 million to put in, I believe. If that's not right, I'm not sure. But the bottom line is this is like a bank teller where they are getting rid of tellers. Things like this are being done online. A lot of us do our business online anymore. And so I believe that we did not need that particular facility, but that is what's been put in. So I think we can make the most of that by adding to that area for additional purposes.
If your attitude is optimistic, you make a lot more out of things than you otherwise would. Let me tell you that. But with respect to the Experian building, I'm sorry, but my opponent is totally wrong. That building is in excellent shape. It's a big enough building to finally have a consolidated center for our public works people. Before we bought the Experian building, we were making payments on 2 leases. The payments on those 2 leases make all of the bond principal and interest payments for the purchase of the Experian building. It was a steal. It was one of the best things that's happened to this city. And beyond that, the only problem is filling it, and we have the spaces, we have the departments, we have the need, and it will be consistently and forthwith filled so that we have in the end a facility that's enormously cheaper than a whole bunch of departments leasing spaces in a whole number of different areas.
Our next question comes from Jane, and it first goes to Leah.
With the arena process moving along in the Haymarket area, what's going to happen to Pershing Auditorium? Plans you have there?
Well, Pershing Auditorium is a part of the problem, of course. It's not a part of the problem right at this particular point in time. We're going through a whole series of contracts and a whole series of problem-solving scenarios with respect to the construction of the arena and the Haymarket infrastructure itself. That has to come first. The fate of Pershing will be in the hands of the people. We will go through a process that will describe that. But first, the arena and the 300,000 feet of Haymarket space, that's the big thing on the agenda. I know my opponent didn't vote for the arena. I know that the arena opponents thought there were lots and lots of problems. They thought we couldn't deal with the railroad, but we've got to deal with the railroad already. The deal's done. They thought we couldn't solve the environmental problems, but we solved the environmental problems. We have no unanticipated problems. They said we couldn't get cheap financing, but we've gotten financing that's tens of millions of dollars less cost-wise than the financing that was expected. Everything with respect to the arena at this particular point in time, notwithstanding the opponents, is going on time and on schedule. And we will continue to put that high on the agenda.
I would say, as far as the Pershing Auditorium, sell it. The other part with the West Haymarket project, I think we need to keep in mind that that could be phase 1, phase 2, or phase 3. We don't know how much that's all going to cost. And at this point, it's all on the internet. If you want to look at the diagram, it's all there. But I'm not sure that that will be finished on time and under budget, but I guess we'll see.
Well, what is happening. But let me say it's also happening with the utmost transparency. There is now a website for the arena. Absolutely everything that happens with the arena is going to be on that website. It is going to be in front of the people of the city. All of the processes that we use, everything that goes on is transparent. Transparency has been a high priority for me from the beginning, and I'll talk later about other areas of government where we've emphasized transparency, and we have been transparent.
I would say with regard to the arena, we need to keep a good, hard look on that at all times and not let it become another Antelope Valley.
John has our next question.
I'd like to take it back a few years. There's a state law here in Nebraska that says you can't have a building taller than the state capitol. Isn't that anti-business? And is it time for Lincoln to lobby the unicameral to repeal that law?
I believe that we need to take a hard look at putting a tall building in downtown Lincoln. It sounds great, but we need to have the money to pay for it, first of all. I think also that we need to really look at what the voters would say about that. Taxpayers certainly have enough intelligence to figure out whether they want something of that magnitude or not. And so I think just looking around here, we have a lot of business folks who might say, well, I don't know if that's worth it or not. Do we really need to stack something up that high in Nebraska? I guess to me, the unicameral, that would be up to them, but I believe that we would need to be involved in that legislative process very, very intensely.
I don't believe in creating issues. If we don't have a problem with that particular limitation, then I see no need to address that limitation. What I see a need to address is the growth of the city and government being active in terms of being sure that it's a good partner for growth. And I think that we've done that. The building now down on 13th and Q Street is being built. It's being built under that limitation, even though it's downtown. We didn't have to sacrifice because of it. We're able to build there without worrying about the limitation. There's no other place in town where that limitation is affecting anything going up. But things are going up because of the attitude of the community and the positive feeling out there now and the consensus that's being built. That building on 13th and Q Street, as you know, the ground is cleared. It's being built. Ground in 2 places, and the Haymarket has been cleared for 2 hotels that are going up. Timco is adding jobs. Verizon is adding jobs. And a dozen other large companies are starting to add jobs. I think the important thing really has no relationship to that particular limitation at this point in time and has everything to do with the government in power and the degree to which that government is able to
Speaking of 13th and Q, the city invested about $5.5 million on that particular property and sold it to the developer for $469,000. I question that. That'd be the first thing that I wonder.
The city of Lincoln has made partnerships with probably a dozen to 2 dozen different companies with regard to financing arrangements, from fairly simple ones to fairly complex ones. The nature of a partnership is that each gives something to the partnership. And I am absolutely confident that the partnerships that we have created for business and with business have been good for business and have been good for the citizens of the city. The benefits of growth are many, and those partnerships have been well formed and well thought out and benefit the community enormously.
Charlie has our next question. It goes first to the mayor.
Mayor Weidler, you have publicly advocated in favor of the south and east beltways. What do you plan to do in the next term to move each of those projects forward? And Mrs. Buffington, what is your opinion of the south and east beltways and their relative importance to the growth and development of Lincoln?
The south and east beltways are important to the long-term growth of the city. The south and east beltways, you have to understand the scale of the project. That project, the South Beltway alone, is almost $200 million at this particular point in time. This city has stood ready for 4 years now to partner with the state and to partner with the federal government on the construction of the South Beltway. The South Beltway comes first in our priority and comes first in the state and federal priority. But the formation of the partnership requires partners. And on a project of that scale, now think about this in terms of a typical new road project along the edge of the city, where we're talking $3, $4, $5 million. We're talking about a project of $200 million. And so it's a project that cannot be done without a partnership, but we have stood ready to do our part, however that part was defined, and we have pushed the state and federal government to come up with their portions of the partnership so that this project could move ahead. And it has moved ahead in the sense that land has been identified, land has been acquired, some design work has occurred, but that's as far as it's gotten at this particular point in time.
I believe that the South Beltway must happen. I think that it would be good for the growth. I think we need to get around the city quicker. I think also that it's important that we utilize the traffic flow and keep that going as quick as we can. The thing that I would like you to think about is, if we try to do this, we're going to have to get funds. Do we want to get state and federal funds where there's lots of strings attached? I'm not sure about that. So I think we need to look at efficiencies and find out just exactly how and where we can find those funds to do that.
Finding funds in the city budget for $180 million. That's a year and a half of the city's budget, entire budget. So, you know,